Well, Rachel, take a look forward on the, I think it's 73 days or so, between now and January 20th at 12 noon, when Joe Biden will take the oath of office.
You know, I wanted to ask your take on that a little bit, Lawrence, because one of the things that I'm finding it hard to get my head around is there's a large distance between all the discussion in advance of the election about what would inevitably happen if Joe Biden won, and Donald Trump would inevitably say, "Oh no, he didn't. I won, and it was stolen from me, and everybody should, riot," or whatever it is he's going to say. There's all that discussion in advance, and we're now seeing the president, saying that Biden hasn't won and he secretly won by a lot by some magic means that we can't understand. But there's a great distance for me between what I expected to be the impact of those words from the president and what they feel like today. I thought it would be scary, or at least it would feel like it was sort of shaking the foundations of the republic a little bit for the incumbent president, who still is the commander in chief of the military, who still commands the executive branch of the United States government, for him to defy an election result and say, no, 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 I'm still president. I thought that would be big and ominous. And now Trump's, in fact, doing it with Biden as president-elect. And it just feels laughable. It just feels small and pitiful and irrelevant. And I mean, he's at his golf course. Of course he is. You saw Trump folks out in the streets today awaiting the election being called the way that we all were. They kind of seem to have melted away, at least for now. When the election was called and Biden supporters are out in the streets. Lawrence, what we were talking about before we were untimely ripped was the threats from the president today, from President Trump, that he doesn't accept this and that he's got some rabbit to pull out of a hat somewhere. And you were saying that you have felt all along that those threats from him were small and laughable. I was more worried about what that would feel like in terms of a sort of threat to the basic civic foundations of the country. I was more worried about that until it actually happened. And the size of the Biden victory, the lack of any significant irregularities anywhere, the lack of any significant legal challenge. I mean, the sort of dog that didn't bark here is that the Trump campaign did immediately out of the gate threaten lots of lawsuits. I mean, you'll remember that the president threatened the lawsuits over the outcome before people had even gone to the polls on election day. And they did file this little flurry of lawsuits, but they were lawsuits in name only. There's nothing to them. They were allegations without any evidence. They didn't have anything to complain about, except in some cases, literally the number of feet between the Republican election observers and the poll workers they were watching. And like their great victory in Pennsylvania on that one was by getting their observers 4 feet closer to the people they wanted to watch and breathe on. Like, okay, congratulations, you got that. Their big substantive challenge is about this tiny sliver of votes in Pennsylvania that were postmarked before Election Day, but received Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and those ballots have been segregated, and there's a question as to whether they could be counted while they're segregated. But like, it's this tiny little slice of thing. Well, where Biden's going to win by tens of thousands of votes, and he's going to win other states. Clearly, he's going to win Michigan by, 150,000 votes or something, where there's no point materially to these legal challenges, and there's no bark. There's no bite behind the bark from the president here. And it doesn't seem like there's anybody other than, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, and Kevin McCarthy, God bless them, who have decided to go down this rabbit hole with the president of defying the results of what appears to be a lawful and orderly election. I don't know what price those guys are going to have to pay for having jumped in there with the president, but they're still in office and he's not. And something should trail them home about that.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.